Did you know that over 70% of automated cybersecurity tests in healthcare miss vulnerabilities that hackers exploit every day? If you're an IT company with healthcare clients, your patients' data, reputation, and regulatory compliance are on the line. Let's dive deep into why a human touch in pen testing is no longer a luxury, it's a necessity. If you're an MSP who's thinking about offering white-labeled pen testing, this video is for you. Notable healthcare institutions have found themselves under siege from sophisticated cyber attacks. Remember the malware incident at Universal Health Services? It wreaked havoc, halting patient care at over 250 of its U.S. facilities. UHS reported that the incident resulted in an estimated loss of $67 million before insurance recoveries. Similarly, Magellan Health fell prey not just to a phishing exploit, but also to ransomware attacks that locked out essential medical data. Despite deploying cutting-edge vulnerability scans, these institutions were hit by significant breaches. The reason? Traditional automated scans can identify standard vulnerabilities, but they often miss the nuanced, advanced threats that modern attackers deploy. This is where manual pen testing becomes invaluable. Beyond just identifying technical flaws, it mimics sophisticated attack patterns, capturing a broad spectrum of vulnerabilities, from zero-day exploits to unpatched systems. By simulating these advanced cyber threats, manual pen testing offers an unparalleled depth of security assessment. For IT companies with healthcare clients, this means a more robust defense mechanism in an increasingly perilous digital environment. Cybersecurity plays a crucial role in healthcare today. If you look at it, healthcare has just as much information as somebody with a credit card agency like Equifax or whatever. They have the social security numbers, they have date of birth, they have address, they even might have payment information. So there's a lot of information there that hackers are trying to gather for various reasons. That means that we have to work harder and harder to ensure that that data is continuously protected. Additionally, in healthcare, a lot of entities such as hospitals and doctors' offices are using what we call legacy systems. These are older systems that may be needed because of the fact that they have specific software or devices that work with that specific device, such as maybe talking about imaging or something like that. And those legacy devices often aren't updated because it's an old system. They don't get the normal patches that a lot of other devices do, like when we talk about Microsoft Patch Tuesday or something like that. And so these devices are even more vulnerable because they're not getting those security updates. Finally, in healthcare, one of the things that we have to focus on is making sure that the firewalls are bulletproof. Most of the time, the next-gen firewalls are locked down, but what happens if somebody is able to get through that firewall into the internal network? Hackers can then pivot and look around for information like patient information or payment information and use that for their nefarious needs. One of the major limitations when healthcare uses automated tools such as vulnerability scanning is those legacy systems that I mentioned before. With those outdated systems, sometimes those vulnerability scans won't find them. The vulnerability scans are set up to identify known vulnerabilities, but after a certain point, sometimes people who are writing that software assume that specific devices are no longer in use. So when they're using those legacy systems, they're not being discovered, they're not being found, and then the vulnerabilities still sit there. There are a few benefits of outsourcing manual pen testing to experts such as MainNerve. One of those is the experience. All of our testers are highly experienced, so they know what to look for. They also know when they're working on an actual penetration test, what they can and can't do that might affect the network. One of the biggest questions that clients ask is if it will result in any downtime. Our Our goal is to essentially act like a hacker would, assuming that you can't see us. So we're going low and slow to ensure that we're not taking the network down. Additionally, one of the things that our pen testers also do that's specific to the manual testing is looking for things that a vulnerability scan can't find. We talked about the fact that vulnerability scanning is only looking for known vulnerabilities. It's kind of like a scan where it's checking boxes. Does it have this vulnerability, the next vulnerability? But outside of that, it's not looking for other things. A great example is looking for default credentials on a firewall. When a vendor issues a firewall, it comes with default credentials so that the people setting it up are able to access it to do all the settings and everything like that. Ideally, they're changing those default credentials after they've accessed what they need to do, but sometimes they forget. Sometimes things happen, or maybe they don't realize the importance of changing the default credentials. During that manual penetration test, our tester will identify the type of device that it is, and then after that, they'll go and do a little bit of research to determine what the default credentials are. With that information, they'll go and try to see if they can use those default credentials to access that device. One of the benefits of MainNerve's manual penetration testing services for healthcare clients is maintaining that regulatory standard called HIPAA. HIPAA was created many years ago in the 90s to ensure patient information is protected. Late in the 90s, they created the security rule, knowing that people were using computers and the fact that information was being transferred from healthcare entities to insurance companies. One of the requirements is that they have to do everything they can to protect those systems to make sure that the information remains safe. But because of the fact that they realized that small doctor's offices, dental offices work very differently than healthcare entities like the insurance companies or big hospitals because of budgets and the number of people working for them, etc., that means that they made it very broad. The idea was that they wanted the different entities to be able to deal with those standards in their own way because of all of those differences. But the problem was there's not necessarily enough guidance to determine, well, do I need a penetration test or do I need antivirus or anything like that? One of the ways that you can ensure that your patient information is protected is by getting that manual penetration test, where we would find the vulnerabilities before a hacker does, provide that information so that you can address it right away. HIPAA is specifically requiring that you be proactive in protecting your patient's information. And by getting that penetration test, you're being proactive. One of the things that our healthcare clients love about us is that we often go above and beyond just that penetration testing. There have been occasions where we've had especially smaller dental and doctor's offices coming to us to receive a penetration test to be proactive. But before we can do that test, we gather some information and they will provide us a network diagram. And when we look at it, it's not very secure. We already know that there are things that need to be addressed. So while that might fall more under an IT company, an IT security company, we will provide that information so that when they come back to us after all those fixes and they get their penetration test done, that report looks much better. IT companies with healthcare clients should choose MainNerve for their manual penetration testing for a number of reasons. Not only are we dedicated to integrity, we also go above and beyond what our partners are doing to ensure that their healthcare clients' information is protected. We want to ensure that all of their goals are met, such as regulatory initiatives and compliance, making sure that they're able to continue business while we're doing the test, and getting a clean bill of health once everything is completed. At MainNerve, we differentiate our manual penetration testing services from other vendors through a number of different reasons. Not only do we have experienced testers, but we also have experience working in healthcare. We have a number of different clients, whether that's doctors' offices, hospitals, or even application vendors who create applications for healthcare coming to us for manual penetration testing. We've worked with various sizes, small mom and pop type shops, all the way up to, like I said, the larger hospitals and stuff like that. And we work with each client individually to determine the best price points, recognizing that sometimes the smaller offices have a much different budget than a larger hospital would. In my expert opinion, IT companies with healthcare clients should ensure that all of their clients are receiving manual penetration testing services. Not only can we make it affordable, but we can make it flexible too. We can ensure that testing is done during the week, on the weekends, after hours, to make it work for the client. If you're ready to sign up with us as a partner selling our manual penetration testing services, the best thing that you can do is contact us, whether that be on the website or a phone call, email, etc. We answer our phone within a couple of minutes of it ringing, unless of course I'm in the bathroom. We also try to ensure that we respond to all inquiries on our website within 24 business hours. And if you don't have an IT company, a consultant that you're already working with, we work with clients directly to ensure that they're getting the best manual penetration testing services too.